more people to stand up. I want a few people to stretch their legs. So if you're one of our elected officials, would you please rise at this time and be recognized? Well, thank you all so much. We have dozens joining us tonight. I see my good friend Tim Eccles, Public Service Commissioner. He has an election coming up at some point. We'll figure out when it is, so be sure to pay attention to that. And in addition, my dear friend, the newest Republican member of the state legislature, Misha Maynor. Thank you so much, Misha. Now, every year at the legislature, we put out our legislative scorecard, and Misha Maynor, as a Democrat, was our highest scoring Democrat. So thank you so much for that. But a little side note, and if you're a representative, cover your ears right quick. If you're a Republican representative, Misha scored higher than a few of our Republicans too. But don't tell them, don't let anybody know that. But thank you so much. Now, Misha has been a champion for school choice from the very beginning. And we have a wonderful opportunity to provide opportunity for those that need it most. School choice will be one of our top legislative priorities. We're going to finish the drill. However long it takes, we're going to finish the drill, and we're going to give opportunity to students in failing schools and students all across our state so that they have the opportunity to pursue the education that their parents know is best for them. Now, thank you. Now, our next speaker is no stranger to standing for our values. Do y'all know the song, "I Fought the Law and the Law Won"? Well, before this man was elected, I'm not going to tell you what office he was elected to. Before this man was elected, the IRS came after him. Now, he's the proud owner of a store in Athens. I think they have another location called Clyde Armory. Gives you a little hint of who it might be. And I must confess, my wife will attest, I've spent a little bit too much money at Clyde Armory. But the IRS illegally came after this man, and as a private citizen, he fought the law, and he won. And he's still standing in Congress. Thank you so much, Representative Andrew Clyde.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to the Faith and Freedom Coalition for what you do to protect and advance our conservative values. It's organizations like Faith and Freedom Coalition that help broadcast the message of adhering to the originalist view of our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence, that recognizes that our rights come from Creator God and not from the government. Government was instituted to protect those rights, not to diminish or eliminate them. And I wish more of those who serve in government would stand up and protect those rights instead of occupying those positions of authority and doing nothing. But I'm so thankful to each of you who are here and willing to partner with Faith and Freedom Coalition to fight with us to not just hold the lines, but to take back what we've lost. Tonight, I'd like to speak briefly on one of the main principles of Faith and Freedom Coalition, which says, as an organization, they support victory in the struggle with terrorism and tyranny while supporting our democratic allies. Today is the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attack, and we all know exactly where we were and what we were doing when each of us heard the news. Just like I also remember exactly where I was when President Reagan was shot. And for those here who have lived the longest, you remember exactly where you were when the news came over the radio about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Another very dark hour. All of these national events are seared into our memory, and we will never forget them. But never forgetting those events is a good thing. You know, I never want to see another 9/11, but I sure could use a few more 912s, 913s, 914s, 915s. Because of the 9/11 attack, I'm now a 3-tour combat veteran. I was in theater in the first wave of the major military engagement just after the terrorist attack. It was the road to Baghdad. I deployed in early 2003, then again in 2005, and again in 2007, 2008. Back then, our military leaders were focused on finding and killing terrorists and empowering our allies to do the same. Our military was mighty, mission-oriented, and always on the ready to defend this nation against all our enemies, both foreign and domestic. While most of the men and women who serve today share the values and attributes I just mentioned, the leadership of our military has become weak, apologetic, and the once mission-oriented top brass has made it their new mission to make our fighting forces the most woke on the planet. They care more about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what pronoun you want to go by, so your feelings don't get hurt. I assure you that our enemies in Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, they don't give a thought to a soldier's preferred pronouns. But that's the misdirected focus of our military's current leadership. They're endangering our troops and our homeland with their misguided directives and weakness on the world stage. The disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan was a prime example. In our military, something has to change, and I am working with my Republican colleagues to show our military exactly what that change needs to be. But occasionally, no change is a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing when Congress does nothing, and the upper chamber, the Senate, is famous for their skill in that area. Sometimes forcing nothing actually accomplishes something very good. Now I'm talking about one of my heroes in the upper chamber. And being from Georgia, I don't generally hurrah Alabama, okay? But we're talking politics here and not football. One of the responsibilities of the Senate that doesn't exist in the House is the requirement to approve all military senior officer promotions. And right now, Senator Tommy Tuberville is my hero. Because he is tackling the wokeness of our military head on by holding up 300 military nominations and senior officer promotions until the military gets back in line and respects the sanctity of life, every life, including the unborn, innocent and helpless lives. He's doing this because the Department of Defense has implemented a policy that reimburses service members for out-of-state travel when they travel across state lines to get an abortion, for those who want to murder unborn babies. And that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the taking of innocent life. It's murder. And it's being subsidized by taxpayer dollars. The DoD made the decision to implement this policy unilaterally, and it's illegal. It violates federal law by violating the Hyde Amendment. So hurrah for Senator Tuberville. Keep it up, my friend, and I will back you up all the way. But that's just one example. I won't even get into the lowering of fitness standards, the pronoun training, the teaching of critical race theory, and the new Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Pentagon, which, by the way, we just defunded in the fiscal year 2024 defense appropriation. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." This verse speaks to me. One could easily substitute the word friends for the word fellow Americans. If these men and women who wear our uniform, who could be our neighbors, members of our family, people we see in church when they're home on leave, or people we see in everyday life, if they're willing to put their life on the line to preserve our freedoms, then don't they deserve the best leadership in the world? They deserve the best training and the chance to be combat ready when called upon to deploy. Their life depends on it, and our freedoms depend on it. Our troops deserve better than what they're currently getting. And I will leave you with this tonight. In 2024, we must put a strong commander-in-chief in the White House. We must win back the Senate and expand our majority in the House and restructure the Department of Defense's leadership of our beloved military. Your freedom, your children's freedom, your grandchildren's freedom, and the stability of the world as we know it depends on it. Thank you. Soli Deo Gloria.